Yeah, it was a really cool writing week. I discovered weird Wild West fiction. This is a genre of fiction that I had never even heard about before. And so a big part of this week was just the lush experience of falling into a brand new fictive imaginative universe that I'd never even known existed. So we're definitely going to talk about that this week. My name's Asa Merritt. I'm a writer. I wrote Six Sermons, the Audible original starring Stephanie Shu. That project is dramatic writing. It's like a TV show. Now I'm writing fiction. And on this channel, I'm documenting my journey into this process. These weekly videos, they start with writing updates, then we go to reading updates. We're going to talk about weird Wild West fiction. And I always share a writing tip from something that I've been sort of reading, writing, mulling over during the week. This week, that tip will be, I'm going to call it world building. I'm actually hoping that maybe someone in the comments, once I describe this, can tell me if it's something more specific. There might be some literary term for this thing that I'm going to tell you about that I found in one of these weird Wild West stories that I thought was great, but I don't know if it does have a name. Anyway, welcome. I'm glad you're here. So first things first, on the writing updates front, we're moving forward. We are getting rejections. So last week I sent out my first piece of flash fiction called The Visit, sent it out to a place called the Smoke Long Quarterly. Within 2 days, they rejected it. So part of my strategy around becoming a professional short fiction writer is to really play the numbers game, from these workshops that I've been taking and reading about how to make this really work. It seems like it's all about numbers. You really have to write a lot of stories. You got to send them out lots of places, get lots of rejections. And so part of my strategy in terms of deciding where to send my stories to first is to pick places that will return a result. They'll tell me if they took the story or not quickly. And so Submission Grinder, which is the site that I've been using, actually does that. So for all the places that you're submitting your story to, it tells you on average how many days that particular place takes to get back. And sure enough, Smoke Long Quarterly had a very low turnaround time. So I said, okay, I'm going to send it to there first. It's a paid market, it's a pro market, and they also have a quick turnaround time. So that's like my thinking there. Also on the writing updates front, I am dusting off the shelf a horror novella, Project Fever. For those of you who have been around the channel from the earliest days, this is a novella that I started writing at a cabin out in the woods here in Mexico, outside Ciudad de Mexico, where I live. Cool story. It's a really cool piece, and I abandoned it because, we do this as creatives. We get going on something and get distracted by something else, or lose faith or lose heart. But in going through the submission opportunities, found a place that I thought might be a good fit for this particular story. They're soliciting wilderness horror pieces, and this particular project has like a parasite seed pod thing that gets contagious, and I'm like, oh man, this could be totally cool. And I went back to the story, and sure enough, I was like, whoa, okay, this is like, there's so much more here. And what I think gives me particular hope is I really wrote almost all of the thing very quickly, the whole novella. And so I really do think there might be a story there for me to kind of put together and send out. And so in the spirit of finishing things, that's a big goal of mine right now, is to really start finishing things and sending them out to submission. I think this coming week, I'm going to focus on that novella to try to hit a July 15th deadline. So I'll keep you posted on that. On the writing or the reading front, so yes, we're going to talk about Weird Wild West, but first I want to report that the very first live stream that I did on this channel with another writer, her name is Dominique Taylor, went really well. That stream was essentially a book club of the short story Bloodchild by Octavia Butler. So that was an achievement, just doing that stream, but also a really wonderful, rich conversation that I had with Dominique. She really loved the story, And, for her, the big takeaway was to trust your reader, not be afraid as a writer to withhold information, to keep things mysterious, potentially confusing, even at some level, that it's okay that your reader has to work a little bit. And I thought that was a really lovely insight about the story. For me, it was a really great read too. For me, it really challenged my definition of what a short story can do. A lot of kind of sort of pedagogy around short stories is like, focus on a singular moment, a singular character, distill. And Bloodchild is a short story, but it is so expansive and it actually has a lot of characters and it sort of has two inciting incidents and it actually contains so many multitudes, story and structure wise, that I think really break that rule or break that mandate in an exciting way. And so for me, like the big takeaway was, maybe some of these first drafts of mine, these early drafts on these short stories, just write actually much bigger than I think bigger and then scale back. So great discussion over there. In terms of these Weird Wild West stories, they're very weird. I started a collection called The Good, the Bad, and the Uncanny. This collection came recommended from a workshop I found about writing weird Wild West fiction. I'll put that up. I can't remember the instructor's name. It was a great workshop. And this collection is wild. It is a wild scene. It's so amazing to read fiction truly unlike anything you've ever read before, which is all I'm really saying here is I just haven't read enough. But like you can use adjectives like camp and madcap and slapstick to describe these short stories. Those could be like the first adjectives that you use to describe these short stories. They're so over the top and so surreal and playful and delightful, and there's just so much joy went into writing these stories. And they're true like genre fiction. These are real like romps, as it were. They're just goofy in so many ways, these Wild West stories. But I think that they're really amazing, and I'm excited by this landscape, this, sort of reimagining the American West with speculative elements is is fertile ground. And, I don't always kind of go in for that level of genre-ness. And I think, it can become kind of just silly. But I was so enamored by the silliness of these first 4 stories that I've read in this collection that I'm kind of excited about it. So, I mean, the way I found out about this is, as I think I mentioned it, like I found this call for flash fiction for Weird Wild West. And so I decided, okay, hey, that's cool. And it's an opportunity. So this particular contest is with Apex Magazine. So next Friday, or this coming Friday, you'll see this Sunday, I'm going to do another live stream with another writer here on YouTube, Sarah Ray Werner. We are going to actually write flash fiction for this contest live together with you. You're more than welcome to join to submit to this contest. So again, in the spirit of really getting work out there, putting the pedal to the metal, it's a numbers game. It's like, here's another opportunity to put some work out there that's paid at a prestigious outlet, and why not, right? Let's write some ghost cowboy stories. So that's happening Friday if you wanna hang out. But that's how I landed on this collection. Last on the reading front, and this is good because this is also a YouTube moment. I'm part of the book club. That there's a channel on YouTube called Write With Me. That channel does a book club, and I love it. I've been going the last few months, and so the book this month there is called Vertigo, by Sebald, I want to say is how you pronounce that writer's last name, and that has been an amazing read so far. I'm only kind of like a quarter way in. I have my work cut out for me, but it's really, really like a wild nonfiction, fiction hybrid essay type thing. And I think the number one thing I have to say for it is kind of a larger point, and it's just the value of reading widely and reading outside of your comfort zone and reading stuff that, you might never read. I'm committed to that book club. I really like everything that happens there. And so I just kind of like, okay, whatever we read on that book club, I'm going to read. And it's a way to keep my reading really fresh and dynamic. And so I guess I'm appreciating that right now and can share that with you, just the value of reading things that are good that you wouldn't read, and just kind of having whatever that is in conversation with everything else that you're reading can be really rewarding. I would be remiss to end this video without a writing tip. So I wanted to share this. I gotta find it. Oh no. Oh my God, where's my notebook? So one of the stories in this Weird Wild West short story collection did this thing where the story's happening, and the story is about a sick kid, and there's like a deranged Catholic doctor, and there's like a noxious weed that they have to go to the nearby Native American tribe to like investigate. There's a lot of zany stuff happening anyway in this story. But then this sentence just appears, and this is just in the middle of the story. Mutt was chased out from his people, and besides, he's off with Deputy Jim hunting that thing that's been stealing folks' faces. And then just carried on. So let me just try to hopefully that made sense. It's like there's a story happening about a kid who's dying from a sick weed, and then a character that's not even really relevant is identified as missing because he's off hunting that thing that's been stealing folks' faces. And I just loved how that was a throwaway detail in this universe, in the universe of this story. It's like, oh yeah, he's out of town, he's on vacation, or he's busy with the the Merck client, or oh no, he's off chasing that thing that's been stealing folks' faces. And it was just this such a sweet, satisfying, confident way to hear this writer be in the world of this story. This is a world where the guy who might help you with the plant is chasing this ghoul thing. It tells us something that's happening outside the story, but it gives us tonal and sort of thematic rules to engage with what's happening. And it lets us know contextually how we should think about the actual story of the weed. It's don't take this story about the weed and the kid dying from it too seriously, because in this, we could be telling the story about the guy who's busy finding the creature that's stealing folks' faces. Hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments what you think. I really like doing these videos, and if you made it this far, then maybe you liked watching it. And I welcome your feedback, and let me know what your favorite parts are, so I can continue making these in a way that works for you.